Where we left off last time is we were talking about unit conversions, and we pretty much got through the essence of what it means to do our unit conversions. We're starting with something. Our first example was we started with 4 gallons of something. We wanted to know how many quarts, and so we used the conversion from the chart, and we used it as a unit ratio. The key thing to remember, and we'll review this in a minute with our first example, is that when you do this, you're trying to get the units to cancel. So when we started with gallons, we put the gallons in our unit conversion in the denominator to make them cancel. And so that left us with quarts. So we're going to pick up the story now with my second example, example 2. And what we're going to do is, in the event, sometimes you might not have the direct conversion between two things, but you can get there in a couple of steps. So for instance, we want to turn in this problem 10 miles into yards. Okay. Now you might know the direct conversion, how many yards are in a mile, but our chart does not have the direct conversion, so we're just going to pretend that we don't know it either, just so that we can practice doing the conversions in 2 steps. So here we go. What we're going to do is we're going to start off with our 10 miles like we did before. And now I'm going to just slide the chart into view. You have it at your seat, and if you're at home, then hopefully you've printed this out. Even though I don't have miles to yards, what can I convert, according to my table up here, what can I convert miles into? Yeah, I can convert miles into feet, okay? And then we notice, and we used this last time, we can convert feet into yards. So I can convert miles into feet. 1 mile is 5,280 feet. So I'm going to put the 1 mile down in the denominator, the 5,280 feet in the numerator. And why did I make the choice to put the 1 mile in the denominator of that conversion ratio? So it'll cancel. Yeah, thanks for verbalizing it. Doing little things like that hopefully helps you remember. Okay, so now my goal is to get this to yards though, not end in feet. So I'm going to now do the conversion again. And we saw last time we used this, you can see it in the chart, that 3 feet make 1 mile. So this time I'm going to put the 3 feet in the denominator. I'm sorry, not 3 feet don't make 1 mile. That would be a really short mile. 3 feet make 1 yard. That's better. And so my feet cancel. I'm left with yards, which is what I wanted according to the problem. And now I know exactly what to do with these numbers, which is why I show this method of doing unit conversions. So as we go across, what am I going to do with the 10 and the 5,280? You're going to multiply because they're both in the numerator. Exactly. And then what am I going to do with that number, which is 52,800? What am I going to do with that number and the number 3? I'm going to divide because the 3 is in the denominator. Okay, so that's the value. I don't have to really think about that part. I just do what the problem tells me now. And you get 17,600 yards. Okay, so I made a little typo or not really a typo. I just wasn't kind of looking ahead. So what I would like you to do is this. For exercise 5, I originally put convert 18 feet to centimeters, but I wasn't looking that our problem, our table has a direct conversion. So that makes that problem kind of moot. So what I want to do, I'm going to change an exercise 5, change that to yards. And so convert 18 yards to centimeters. And what I would like you, there's 2 different ways you could approach this problem, but just so we're all doing the same thing, please convert the yards to feet and then convert the feet to centimeters. Okay, do it in those 2 steps. You could convert the yards to a meter and then the meter to centimeters, and it would work equally as well, but yards to feet, please. So we start off with the 18 yards, and I just so that again, so we're all doing the same thing, convert yards to feet. So we know that there's 3 feet in 1 yard. So I put the 1 yard in the denominator, I put the 3 feet in the numerator so that the yards will cancel. And then according to the table now, when I go to change feet into centimeters, 1 foot is 30.5 centimeters. So 1 foot is 30.5 centimeters. So now the feet cancel. My only units that are left are centimeters. So I have done what I wanted to do. So now I'm just going to go through and do the whatever arithmetic. So since the 18 and the 3 are both in the numerator, I'm going to multiply those, get 54. And since the 30.5 is in the numerator, I'm going to multiply by it, and I get 1,647 centimeters. Anybody get something different that we have to talk about? Anybody make any sort of dreadful error? All right, please let me know. Don't just sit there passively if you have something going on. Okay, exercise 6 is another 2-step problem. Or in fact, I think this one's a 3-step problem just because I wanted 50% more fun. So you're converting days into seconds. In case you're struggling on where to start, a good first step is to turn days into what? Yeah, turn days into hours, and then hours into the next thing, and then you'll end up at seconds eventually. All right, so going through this, we start off with 13 days. I've asked you to make this into seconds. So we already went through kind of the first thing. 1 day is 24 hours. We kind of know that from our lived experience. It's also in the table up at the top of the page. Now I'm done with days. No more days. I'm going to cross them out. I'm left with hours. I want to get to seconds. So now I've got to turn hours into what? Minutes. I mean, you might know how many seconds are in an hour, but I don't off the top of my head. So I'm going to go 1 hour, I know is 60 minutes. Okay, so now I'm done with hours and I'm left with minutes. So I've got to go one more time. Finally, we're about there. 1 minute is 60 seconds. Anybody have trouble with that? Anything that you're not seeing about doing unit conversions? It's all about just making sure you're canceling the units that are there to get the ones, to be left with the ones you want. So this is just straight multiplication all the way across the top of this. So I've got 13 times 24 times 60 times 60, and that turns out to be a lot. That's 1,123,200, and I'm just so that I don't make a huge mess, I'll put seconds down below. Okay, my last example, and then I've got one for you, is you can also apply this to what's called a rate. Now, a rate is what you get when you do the ratio of two units. You're familiar with rates just from getting in your car. When you say that you're going 30 miles per hour, that's called a rate. It's the ratio of how many miles versus how many hours you are going. So any sort of ratio you make of things with units works like that. So what I want to do in example 3 is I want to change 50 miles per hour. Okay, so we're going to start with 50 miles. That's my numerator over hour in the denominator. I want to turn 50 miles per hour into kilometers per minute. So the reason I give this problem is just, what do I do when I have a unit in the denominator that I want to change? Okay, so hopefully you can take what you know and we can extrapolate it. We'll see how it goes. But forget the hours for a minute. I want to change my miles first into kilometers. So I'm going to go on my chart. Let's see, where is the miles to kilometers? It's right here at the 5th one down in the middle chart. 1 mile is 1.6 kilometers. Okay, so 1 mile is 1.6 kilometers. So 1 mile on the bottom, 1.6 kilometers in the top, and my miles are gone. So if I ended the problem here, what are my units? If I just finished now, what's the units on my problem now? Kilometers in the top, hours in the bottom, right? So if you want to know, like when you get in your car, you know, because a lot of our cars, if you have the speedometer with the little bar, then you know on the outside it has the miles per hour, and then on the inside it has the kilometers per hour. So you can see 50 miles per hour is going to turn into something like 80 kilometers per hour if you wanted to stop. But that's not where I wanted to stop. Now we're going to change this into kilometers per minute. So I've got to change the hours to minutes. So we know 1 hour is 60 minutes, but here's the big question. Okay. My hours start out in the denominator right here. That's what I have to cancel. 1 hour is 60 minutes. So where am I going to put the 1 hour? Where am I going to put the 60 minutes? You're going to put the hour on the top. Why did you put the hour on the top? That's great. Perfect. Now I got 1 in the top, 1 in the bottom. So 1 hour is 60 minutes. So 1 hour in the top, 1 hour in the bottom, I can cancel them. And now you can see the only units that are left is I've got kilometers in the top, I've got minutes in the bottom, so I have the appropriate rate that I asked for. And now I'll just go ahead and do my multiplying and dividing according to the way the problem is. 50 and 1.6, I'm going to multiply those and get 80. And then I'm going to take the 80 and I'm going to divide by the 60 since it's in the denominator. I'm just going to round to the 10th. And so we get 1.3 kilometers per minute. So if you're tooling down the road at 50 miles per hour, then you are going 1.3 kilometers every minute. All right, last one, exercise 7. I've given you the rate of 5 liters per hour, and I asked you to turn it into cups per minute. Oh, and by the way, a question that you might have is, hey, Perkster, you did the kilometers first and then the hour second. Did you have to do it that order? And the answer is no. You could have done these 2 steps here in either order and will absolutely make no difference to the problem. Okay, again, it doesn't matter which of these two things you do first or second. I'm just going to work with the liters first for no particular reason at all. So 5 liters, I want to turn that into cups. So that's going to be in my volume. And it looks like, where are we? Teaspoons, here it is, right here. It's the 4th one down. 1 cup is 0.24 liters. So 1 cup is 0.24 liters. So now I've got my liters to cancel. If I stopped the problem now, I'm in cups per hour. But now I want to finish and change the hours into minutes. So 1 hour, just like the last problem, the 1 hour is 60 minutes. And so now my hours are gone and I have cups per minute are the units that are left. And so I will take my 5 and I will divide it by the 0.24, and then I will divide again by 60. And then I didn't give you any rounding instructions because that was bad preparation. So I'm just going to round to the hundredths place. So that's going to be 0.35 cups per minute. And there we are. All right, before